Welcome to 5 and 5 from the One Stop Co-op Shop, where we discuss 5 key elements of the game in about 5 minutes. I'm Michael Kelly, and today we're looking at Mystic Vale, and specifically the new Nemesis expansion that allows full solo play. No disclaimer needed, I traded for the base game and I bought the expansion myself. Another reviewer I'm friends with, Razupaf, suggested the game to me, saying it was a nice mix of deck building and push your luck, two mechanics I really enjoy, and the fact that they finally added an expansion for full solo play, because I'm not sure how much I'd get a competitive card game played at my house, really made me excited. So did the solo play live up to that excitement? Let's get to the list and find out. We're going to start with a full-on con, something pretty integral to this game, and that's the idea of sleeving all the cards and putting these little plastic kind of cards in front of other ones in these sleeves. This opens up a lot of component issues. First, as you slide in more cards, the art and the text gets a little muddy as you're looking through multiple pieces of plastic. Cards get very thick when they have a lot of upgrades, and you can tell which one is which, so you have to kind of shuffle blindly or deal shuffle and try to ignore it. It can take a while to take them all back out again at the end of the game, and at least for my copy, the plastic cards kind of bow a bit naturally, and they don't really mix together very well. They kind of stick to each other, so it's just a little bit of an annoyance overall. My number 4, though, is a full-on pro, something new to the Nemesis expansion and the solo mode, and that's the Nemesis Cards. At the start of the solo game, you'll select one of these cards, and they have varying difficulty levels, and you'll slide it into one of the curse land cards in your deck, so it'll become one of the 20 cards you use. And this reminds me of After the Virus that I covered earlier this year, in that the bad cards are actually part of your deck instead of something exterior, and I really like that idea in deck builders. Besides that, I think it's nice that they gave you so much variety. You can really change up the difficulty with these cards, and they can also have you build your deck in different ways to kind of accommodate the stuff they're doing to you. My number 3 is the other new aspect to the solo mode of the game, the Nemesis Track, and that's more of a mix leaning con. The basic idea here is at the end of each of your turns, you'll move the token for the track one space forward, and it'll tell the Nemesis to grab one or more cards, earning them victory points, which is how they win or lose the game. On the positive side, this is very, very quick to resolve. You don't have to do an entire AI turn. And also the fact that you can see several turns in advance exactly which spots of cards they will buy sometimes gives you the chance to kind of jump in ahead of them if it's a really good card or has a lot of victory point value and grab it before they do. But on the negative side, the AI grabs victory points at a consistent rate, which accelerates the end game, and that's fine, but in the competitive mode, you'll have different paces of play. Sometimes the game will be long or short, so the fact that it always goes very quickly here could be a negative. But the bigger thing is the AI will often buy more expensive cards that you have no chance to compete with them for, and these cards can have huge variance in the victory point value. Like for the level 2 Vales, you'll sometimes get a card that has 0 victory points or another one that has 10 or 12. That's kind of a ridiculous swing in terms of the victory point total overall, so it can really determine whether you win or lose the game, which isn't really satisfying. My number 2 is also a mix, coming back to one of the core mechanics of Mystic Vale overall, and that's the pushing and spoiling mechanic. At the end of each of your turns in Mystic Vale, you'll deal cards until you have 2 decay symbols showing in your field and 1 decay symbol on top of your deck. Then at the start of your turn, you can deal more cards out, but if you ever have 4 decay symbols showing, you spoil and lose your entire turn. Now the positives here are that pushing your luck can be fun and tense for sure, but more importantly, a lot of the card effects deal with this and give you ways to mitigate this or make it less challenging, which I really enjoy. But on the negative side, the penalty for pushing your luck and failing here is just too harsh in most cases, which means you're usually not going to do it if there's any question that you might fail. So I think the push your luck often becomes no push your luck at all, and that's not too great. But we are going to end with a full-on pro, kind of the core concept of the game, and that is the card construction aspect. I already love deck builders and comboing, but one of the frustrating things in them is that sometimes you won't draw the right cards to go together. But with Mystic Vale, you're basically building up to 3 cards in your combo into a single card sleeve. So you can put your money makers together, you can put cards that work off each other together, and ensure you get the exact stuff you want and kind of build the tempo of your turn correctly. It gives players wonderful combo opportunities overall, and also lets them play around with unique effects, because some cards will affect the other effects on their card, and other ones will affect the other cards in your field. It's really cool. But overall, my thoughts and recommendation on Mystic Vale are going to be pretty mixed. I love the comboing, and I like parts of the push your luck, which are kind of the core mechanics of the game. And I think the Nemesis solo mode is pretty cool and gives some variety and strategy, although, again, whether you win or lose is often up to luck. But here's the key thing, and probably my most important thought on this game. They have a really great app for Mystic Vale on both Steam and iOS, and it is way cheaper to get the game and get the expansions than it is for the physical copy. And playing the game digitally takes away the wonkiness and teardown of the plastic cards. It takes away the need to buy an expensive extra expansion to play solo. You can just play the AI. And quite honestly, I don't know if solo was satisfying enough, and I don't know if competitive was satisfying enough, because it's pretty much multiplayer solitaire for me to recommend buying both the core game and a big expansion on top of it, when again you can spend much less money to play the game online. So take that how you will, but for now I'm not sure if I'm going to keep Mystic Vale. It's looking kinda iffy, but I'm sure we'll see it a future episode of Shelf Life. For now, good gaming, and I'll see you at the next stop.